Thanks so much for clicking on the video. My name is Leah, and let's recap and review Married to Medicine. This is season 9. I want to say this is like episode 7 or 8, but I'm not sure. But you already know I don't be knowing. But let's get into it. So y'all know before most reviews, if I find something on the timeline that's salacious, we talk about it. If it's spicy enough, I'm gonna bring it to you. So let's talk about Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Conetessa. It's safe to say that they are probably never gonna be on the same page, like, ever. Like, shots were fired and the kids was brought into it, and you know how people feel about their kids. It ain't never gonna be the same. It's never gonna be the same. So let's get into it. So I'm gonna start off with some quote tweets that Heavenly was quote tweeting, and then I'll talk about like the beef that, like, you know, them going back and forth with each other. So first, Heavenly was like quote tweeting this one person. So this one person said, is it me, or does it seem like there is jealousy when it comes to Dr. Damon and Heavenly's accomplishments? This is the second time Conetessa has made comments about careers. # married to medicine. And then Heavenly responds by saying, yep, I told you she brought up finances at the ambush. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? There's definitely an issue here. There definitely is an issue there with her. # married to medicine. # team daddy. I hate that because it's I don't know why y'all do that. Well, I mean, I know why, but not over here in this house. In this house, we don't do that over here. We don't do that. So then Heavenly also quote tweeted this, what someone said. Someone said, so basically, Conetessa was a closeted lesbian that came from a dysfunctional household, joined the military, and wanted a family, while Scott just needed a hustle to pay off those medical loans. And then Heavenly retweets that by saying, damn, y'all have no chill, # undefeated. I was like, girl, you really is not holding back. Because I don't know if y'all know, but as people who've been watching Married to Medicine since season 1, me, and then when Conetessa got introduced, a lot of people have speculated that Conetessa is, one, either a lesbian, 2, either bisexual, or she just altogether is not sexually attracted towards Scott. A lot of people tried to say that Britain, I think that's how you say that lady name, from Married to Medicine LA was like Contessa's like secret lover. That's what the rumor was, allegedly, that's what it was. So for Heavenly to retweet that, I was like, oh, you really not holding back. You really letting the people know how you feel. So then Heavenly retweets this, and it says, I knew Dr. Heavenly wasn't going to allow Dr. Conetessa to speak to her husband like that. Was rude and out of line, and Dr. Scott should have stepped in and told his wife to stop. My question to Dr. Conetessa, where was this mouth at the reunion when you had Quad to speak on your marriage? I said, they not holding, the children not holding back. The children is not, the people like it's, and she don't care. I think the issue here is we already know Heavenly don't play about Damon. Like, she does not, she jump in front of a bullet for that man. So you disrespect him, oh, it's curtains for you. It's done. And she really don't care for Conetessa. And I know Conetessa don't care for her, but I think Heavenly really does not care for her now. So this is how things popped off. So now we're going to get into Conetessa and Dr. Heavenly going back and forth. Dr. Heavenly posted this. Oh no, at Dr. Conetessa MD. You do not make the same as # Dr. Damon is a board certified in 4 different specialties, which is hard. So congrats to him, and owns his own surgical center. Don't you ever in your life compare yourself to us. There's no comparison. And then Conetessa says over top of it, # debt free baby, true wealth. So then Heavenly quote tweets her saying the whole like # debt free baby, true wealth, by saying, how house poor, please put these kids in private school, especially the boy. They don't need to go through what they are going through. # team daddy. So then Contessa said, rules seem to change based on who you like. So hashtag kids are hashtag fair game, hashtag married to medicine, hashtag Dr. Contessa out. And Dr. Heavenly retweets that, will quote tweets that by saying, I apologized and I apologize, it was wrong. But didn't you not bring your daughter downstairs during the ambush saying I was trying to ruin her family? Let's both not go so low and keep kids out of it. I think you owe an apology as well. Hashtag married to medicine, hashtag team daddy. I was like, so she letting the people know, because a lot of people were saying like, did you hear that Contessa brung Layla downstairs and that Scott and the kids were still in the house when they were having that shouting match in the basement? So then Dr. Contessa, because it shifted over to Instagram, went on Instagram and said this. She says, okay, so we, the women, are on reality TV, but our kids are also fair game. Remind me, because the rules seem to change based on who we like. Hashtag married to medicine, hashtag too dirty for me, hashtag Dr. Contessa out. So then Dr. Heavenly, I guess, responded to this and said, yes, you brought Layla down, not me. I would never. I can't imagine what you do when you argue with your husband. Please don't bring your energy to mine. You will never disrespect him in my presence. Do better. And then she continued by saying, I was wrong. I apologize, but you have to stop bringing your kids into this. You have to stop bringing your kids into this. Poor Layla was traumatized at the ambush. You trying to make me look bad when you said I was trying to ruin your family. We're not trying to ruin your family. Please chill. These kids don't need this. I hope you and your family are well. This reunion about to be good. And it sucks because I do really think that Heavenly and Contessa were genuine friends. But it's just crazy to see like the shift in 1 year, and the energy will shift in a friend group. But let's get on to this okay, y'all. So I'm going to go couple by couple, and then we're going to finish it out. So let's first start off with Anila and Kieran. I feel bad for Kieran. And the main reason why I do is because your home is supposed to be your sanctuary. I don't want to come home to somebody I don't like. And it's clear as day to see that Kieran may possibly love Anila's mom, but he don't like her. His mom is very overbearing and does not understand boundaries, and thinks because she's 60 years old and they're like 45 and 48 that she could tell them what to do. Ma'am, you don't pay bills in this house, so shut it up. Shut it all the way up, pretty much. And it's weird to me because, like, I guess for me it's weird because my parents aren't really like that. You know, I'm nowhere near 45 or 40, but like nowhere near that. But when it comes to my parents, it's like my parents set boundaries, like with us, with me and my sister, and we set boundaries with them. I just find it weird that like she's up in their house trying to tell them what to do. And I know my mom wouldn't do that. Like, even when my parents come to visit me, they don't do that. They ask me like, oh, do you do it this way here? Or do you do it this way? Even when they're visiting my sister, they do it. They ask her the same thing. Like, oh, I don't want to disrupt your space. So it's just weird to me to see somebody who does not care. I mean, it's not weird because I've seen it, but it's just like, bro, like, you really don't care. Because I know for a fact if they were to come in to Anila's mom's house in that way, energy she would have a fit, because the way she did her, she's like, how you gonna tell me what I can do? I am the elder. Like, that finger was fingering. She was upset. She was in her feelings. So I'm just kind of like, give the respect you want to be reciprocated back to you. So Anila catches Kieran up on how they have fun in Las Vegas. She tells Kieran about, Toya saying she would get with him if they had a chance to swap husbands. He didn't seem that enthused. He was just like, oh, okay. As well as she talks about, how Toya brung up like Eugene's penis size. Now, I will say, I thought it was funny, but I know how some people didn't think it was funny. But also, it's something weird about when Anila and Kieran talk about Eugene and Toya. I don't know. I just feel like y'all already know y'all don't really vibe. So just don't talk about them. Just keep your mouth. I don't know what that means, because that's like, just keep quiet. Just be quiet. I don't know why I'm doing that. Just be quiet. So Kieran is sitting at the kitchen counter typing up the 10 commandments of how he wants things to go, or the rules in his home. And honestly, what they keep reiterating is Anila's mom is dirty. Like she don't be washing her hands when she do a lot of cross contamination. I was like, baby, why don't you sit her down and give her a food safety video like they do an introductory to food science where I'm at. Like maybe you need to give her a food safety video, because it seems like she does not understand that you should not, like when you're dealing with certain items in the kitchens, you're supposed to wash your hand throughout, like wash your hands throughout cleaning. Like and that's not even like a, well, I was about to say something, but I don't know, so I'm gonna keep it quiet. Sometimes it's good to think before you speak. But I was just kind of like, yeah, it just seems like she don't be cleaning up after herself. And they keep flashing back to the first season where they had food and stuff was dripping, and that's already nasty as it is. And you got little kids, and kids are just gross that it is. So it's a lot of people gonna be getting sick in their house, it seems. I did want to know more about like their cultures, because it seems like Kieran and Anila are the same race. They are Asian or Southeast Asian, but maybe from two different ethnic groups inside that. I hope I'm using that correctly, because I normally get confused between race, ethnicities, and sometimes race. But it just seems like they're not from the same parts of the same country. And that's the same thing with, like, you have black people from the South are different from black people from the North and from the West Coast, and even people in the Midwest. So they were just like, in my culture, Karen was saying in his culture, his family, like the husband's family, would come live with the husband and wife and their kids, not the mothers. So it seems to me like they're doing a flip, and that's probably why Karen is like, this ain't how it's supposed to go. But I always think it's interesting. Like I remember having in high school, we had neighbors. It was an Indian family, and it was like maybe 10 people living in that house, and they were all related in some way. Like we rode the bus with one of the youngest kids, and he was in high school with us, and he was like, yeah, it's my mom, my dad, my brothers, and then my sister, and then like my brother's wives, and then their kids. So they do that in their culture. I mean, I don't know if I would be down to do that, because it's nice. What it would work for me if we all lived in like the same subdivision, or at least in the same area. Like, my grandparents 10 minutes away, my mom and dad 40 or 30 minutes away. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I want to live in the same house, because I like my space. I do. I like being alone sometimes. So the mom comes, and so does the dad. Karen, you could tell, is already like, ugh. And like I said, the mom was not happy about them rules. She ripped them rules up. And I said, first of all, that's mad disrespectful, because paper and ink ain't cheap, ma'am. And it's just weird that she just does not understand not to overstep. But it also makes me look at Anila funny, because it's like, your husband isn't comfortable with your mom like that. And if I was married and my husband brings over his mom and dad, and I told you already know me and your mom don't get along like that, but we like tolerate each other, why would you want to bring that into the home where I'm uncomfortable? And the only reason why the mom is coming is, one, I think Anila needs a storyline, because the whole Miss Gomez things got tired and played out after a while. And two, Anila's lazy, because I get it. I'm in grad school and I do YouTube for fun. It's a fun hobby to do. But one thing I have noticed is, like, if you don't like schedule, things will get out of hand. Anila is a content creator. That is her main source of income. I don't understand why we can't just plan your day around your kids. You said multiple times that your kids go off to school. While they are at school and you are at home, film your content. Then when they get home, allocate time to be with them, have a good time with them. And then when they go to sleep, probably, because their bedtime should probably be like 8 o'clock, 8:30, if they being good 9. And then you have all that time to like maybe film one more video or 2 videos or 2, edit them, and then save them for the next day to upload them. It just seems like Anila just does not want to be bothered, as well as it seems like you just let Miss Gomez take your kids while you did whatever for the rest of the day. Like I told y'all, Miss Gomez was a single mother out here working and surviving, and they won't paying her enough. Because I don't get it. I don't get it. It's lazy to invite your mom to take care of your kids when your husband don't like her. But your mom, and the reason why I say it's lazy is because Anila could take the time to actually like contact nannies and serve. And I'm not saying that we know that not everybody, you can't leave everybody with your kids. But I just think it's something wrong with you inviting people into your home where your husband, who probably has paid for the majority of that home, and your Instagram checks have helped furnished it, but is not paying the mortgage, to have him come home knowing good and well he's not comfortable with those people around. I just think that's wrong. I just think that's wrong. So on to Utoya and Gene. I say Utoya. Toya and Eugene. So we have a situation. We can clearly see that there's some tension brewing between Eugene and Toya, and the kids can pick it up too, because the oldest said, "Why are y'all always fighting?" Because they were fighting about a situation that happened between the oldest child. I guess he was at a sleepover. Seems like he was the only little black kid there amongst a sea of white faces. And one of the new kids in the neighborhood accused him of stealing like a PS game. And he was like, "I didn't steal it. I just was like, oh, these games are cool." And he stood up for himself. Luckily, I guess they figured out what happened and found out that he didn't take it, and the situation was rectified. But they were praising him for keeping his composure and standing up for himself. And they were trying to express to him, like, you got to make sure you make the right meet the right type of people and surround yourself with good people, because you as a little black kid growing up in America can face serious consequences when people think that you're stealing or causing them harm, and things of that nature. And it sucks. It sucks that here in America, people are part of, like, not people, my people are part of the black community. We have to deal with teaching our kids, whether that be a male or female, that, hey, certain groups of people, you cannot be the only one, because you will be targeted. I remember I was like the only black girl at a sleepover. I had a good time. But like, I could tell before like going, my mom and my dad were uncomfortable. But I was really close friends with this girl, and I knew most of the people going, and I was cool with them. I was like in middle school, I want to think, and like I had a good time. But the crazy thing, I knew my dad was uncomfortable, was because my dad came and picked me up like promptly when they said you could come pick up the kids. Like, I think it was like, oh, pick them up like around 11 or 10, because they were gonna feed us breakfast. My daddy was there in the driveway, I want to say like maybe like 10 something, like it was almost 11 o'clock, but like that was the time. And they were like, "Leah, your dad's here." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was ready to go by then anyway. But my dad was like, "Okay, you okay? You had a good time?" Okay. Like, I could tell he did not want to leave me there. So I know that like, as black people, we have to be weary of that. Like, there's been so many incidences of black people, black kids in general, going away with a group of white friends, whether it be like spring break, Christmas vacation, summer vacation, and not coming back. And then someone's like, "Oh, we don't know what happened." And they go missing or they end up dead. So that's something you have to think about as a black kid, and you're the only one. So it sucks that they have to learn that, or we in general have to learn that. But I'm happy that the situation was rectified, and he learned a lesson, like, okay, I gotta watch. You gotta be vigilant. And it doesn't even have to be around a sea of white faces. It could be a sea of black faces. Not everybody is your friend. And sometimes some people learn that lesson too late in life. Other people learn it early on, and it's better to learn it earlier on, where you can peep the signs of people being shysty and snakish with you. And low-key, that might mean you harm. So, yeah. But we do see that there's some issue brewing with Toya and Eugene, because they got to arguing. And the little boy even said, "Why y'all always arguing?" So it's not good that they're arguing in front of the kids. Hopefully they come to some solution. But it just seems like Eugene is tired. He's tired. And I can't even fault him for it. He's working probably 24-hour shifts daily. And he comes home, and then Toya wants him to be involved with the kids. And it's like, yes, you should be involved with your kids. But when you tired, you tired. When you just want time to just sit and like take a deep breath and just have calmness and peace at your house, you can't really have that with kids. That's probably why Eugene is like, "You know what? I need a different profession, or I need to move somewhere else in this profession." Because I think some of us have forgotten that the panorama is still going on, but for the people who experienced it firsthand, like all of those nurses and doctors and like workers, like, you know, sanitation workers and like people who, I don't know what they call them, like they're not nurses, but they help aid the nurses with like all these things, and like hotel administration, we're dealing with a lot of death. And that already messes you up because you're not used to seeing like 12 and 13 people just die and you not know what to do, and you think that everything's gonna be all right and it's not, or you think you're doing the right things. So I just think he needs a break. He needs a break where he could sit down, take a deep breath, and maybe it is a good thing that he is considering changing professions, because maybe the slow pace might help him deal with his burnout. Because that's what I see with Eugene. I just see somebody who is burnt all the way out. And Toya not making it any better, but she needs the help. And I understand her feelings are valid too. Like, you don't deserve to come home, like your husband to come home, you're happy to see them, and they're dismissive or they're ignoring you or they have a nasty attitude. But it's also like she needs to lean into her understanding of the situation, that if you're not aiding in the financials to ease this burden, then hush up. Hush up, ma'am. Hush up. So let's move on to Heavenly and... All right, y'all. So like I said, on to Dr. Jackie and Heavenly. So Heavenly stops by Jackie's practice. And, you know, she's talking about the whole menopause. They talked about having an O-shot party. And, you know, we talked about that in the first episode. And they then talked about Heavenly dealing with her mom. So her mom is actually on a ventilator, and she's like, she can't breathe for herself. So she's in the early stages of... passing away or transitioning on. And I'm not gonna lie, when Heavenly called before the old party and her voice cracked, and she like, because she didn't come to the old party, which was the last event of the night, because her mom, like, she had to sign the do not resuscitate papers. And as somebody who has lost somebody very significant in their lives, and it's only been a month, like, that like hit me in my chest. Like, I almost cried, and like I kind of feel it right now, but I'm gonna hold it. But like, I was just like, damn, like, that is a very, like, it sucks. It sucks. That's all I'm gonna say, because I feel it, and I don't feel like crying right now. But we move on. So Simone and Cecil are having like a get together at their house. They invited Scott and Conetessa and what's her name? Heavenly and Damon. You can clearly tell Damon came right after he got off of work, because he was the only one in scrubs. But they were having a good time. They were talking about how the ladies got together. Simone was happy that Heavenly and Conetessa were there and the energy was right. She was telling them that she was happy. I don't know who told Conetessa to put on that makeup, because she looked high yellow. She really did. And I said, Conetessa, why are you like 3 shades, like almost 5 shades lighter than what you supposed to be? Like, when because some people were like, well, maybe she went on vacation. Girl, I've been on vacation, and I normally wait a minute until the tan either goes away or it pans out. Either way, sis, all she had to do was fill in them brows, put a little lip gloss on, and put a little blush or some highlighter on them cheeks, and called it a day. But to put all that foundation, and you looked in the mirror and you thought it was okay, I'm gonna need you to get them eyes checked. Cause in what way? Cause I was like, I kept looking. I said, and like someone said, casket ready. So they're sitting at the table, and no, this is Heavenly be embarrassing Damon, and this is how it had me weak. So it was just Heavenly, Conetessa, and Simone sitting on the couch. And Simone was like, you know, they were asking, well, how did you and Cecil get together? And Simone was like, girl, you know, he was my neighbor. I thought he was cute. Them legs was legging. She was like, and he challenged me a lot. But now that I'm, now that I'm older, like I'm past 50, I just need him to tell me yes. Just tell me yes. Like, I need a yes man. And in the confessional, Cecil was like, what she's saying is she want a dog. She don't want no yes man, which I thought was hilarious, because she started laughing. And then he was like, you know, we built a lot of things together, which I'm proud of. And she was like, everything I wanted us to get, we got, except 2 girls. And then Simone said, that's your fault because you only gave me boys. And they laughed about it. I just like Cecil and Simone together. I know some people are like, oh, I don't see the love between them. But I do. I do. I'd rather be with someone I think is my friend than not. Like, they just seem like they kick it and they be cool. And on occasions, they might do and have a good time doing it. So, so then the part that I like, how I said Heavenly be embarrassing Damon, Heavenly gonna say in the confessional, you know, if I put anytime I put anything in my mouth, I get what I want. Damon was like, don't say that. Don't say that. I said, why you embarrass that man like that? Stop embarrassing him like that. So they sitting at the dinner table, they're eating and having a good time. And then Cecil does this joke about making them sign an NDA. But not. Then they all start talking about like how they got together. They asked Scott. Scott was like, "Oh, like it was my last year of medical school, and I think it was her first year of medical school." And he's asking Conetessa like, "Am I right?" And she was like, "You tell me." I said, "First of all, why you bringing this negativity here, ma'am? Like it won't that serious. Like, girl, all you had to say is like, yeah, I think you right. Even if you didn't think he was right, or even if you wanted him to like say it, because you hear Heavenly be like, oh, there you go, trying to like ease the tension, but trying to give him a like, you know, good job, because she was kind of being stank for no reason other than like, I'm not even gonna go into that. So we find out that like Scott knew his medical school debt was gonna be free. Like he was gonna have all that paid off, and then Conetessa knew hers was gonna be paid off. So he was like, that's why like we were like, oh, we should probably like start dating and see what we can do. And they got together. And he said, I think Scott said in his in the confessional where he was like, love can't happen without good finances or something to that. And I was like, he right, because I don't want to be with nobody with debt. I'm already in enough debt with school as it is. So I get that. So they start having this conversation about like arguing back and forth. And then this is where things kind of got weird, because Damon was like, let me say this. He says, you know, y'all just like the arguing, like he was like saying how men can argue and things might get physical, or like, you know, there's a line we normally don't try to cross with each other. But women, y'all oftentimes cross that line and it hurts. It cuts deep. So then Conetessa was like, ooh, he's talking about you, Heavenly. And you could tell that Damon looked at her like, I don't need your help in this conversation. So then he tried to make it broader and be like, you know what? Like, let me just say this. He was just like, the things that you and my wife got going on, I think is BS. And I think it's stupid. And Conetessa's like, it's not BS. It's not. And then you could tell Heavenly was getting increasingly mad because she felt like Conetessa was disrespecting Damon. I would have been Simone, because Simone was just like eating her chicken like, ooh. Because she was listening to Damon, because Simone had said multiple times that she loves Damon. Most of the women love Damon. They just think he's like a teddy bear and so sweet. So she was listening to Damon and was like taking it in while he was talking. But then Conetessa was getting increasingly annoyed. So then Heavenly got loud and was like, Conetessa, shut up and let the man talk. Like, just shut up. And then Conetessa was like, don't tell me to shut up. So then Damon was telling Heavenly, stop. Don't go back and forth with her. I know you think you have to do this, but you don't have to do this. Probably saying like, you don't have to argue with her for the show purposes. Don't do it. Don't engage with her. And she kept going. And then Heavenly was like, Conetessa, shut up so the man can talk. You being disrespectful. And then Conetessa was like, don't tell me what to do, Heavenly. You shut the fuck up, Heavenly. I was like, whoa, Conetessa. Like, you regulate your emotions, man, because the energy didn't need to be that. Like, I get it. Heavenly was already doing too much. Heavenly to me was like on level 6. Conetessa shot all the way up out the gate to like level 12. And I'm like, we're on a 10-point scale. Why are you going beyond that? Like, there was no need for her to get loud like that. So then Conetessa's like, I don't need to be spoken down to or talked to like a child. Me and you do the same thing. And Damon's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not trying to do that. So then he just gets frustrated, because then he was sitting at the table. He was like, you know, talking to Heavenly. He was like, I told you several times to stop and you didn't respect that. That's a lack of respect. So like, I'm kind of done. So he just got up put on his jacket. Heavenly got him and was like, I'm leaving with my man, da 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 da. And then Simone was like still sitting at the table with Scott and Conetessa, and that's when Conetessa was like, me and him do the same thing. He not gonna tell me what to do. And Simone was like, you're right, y'all do the same thing. Technically they don't, because she's not a surgeon, and Conetessa is, I think, just family medicine, whereas it seems like he's in surgery. Those are two different things, even though it's all in the medical field, you know what I mean? So she was like, yeah, and someone was like, yeah, you're right. Scott just sitting there like a bump on a log, not even saying nothing. He didn't even interject to be like, Conetessa, like, chill out, like, let the man finish speaking, which he probably knows if he said that to her, it probably she would have skyrocketed even higher. So Cecil goes outside to check on them, and you can tell that Damon really does love Heavenly, because even as he's like scolding her, or even just telling, I won't even say scolding because she's not a child, but he's basically telling her how he feels and how he's just like annoyed with her, and like, you know, you don't even got to be doing all of that. Like, I don't want to, like, I didn't want this to be that. She has on his jacket, so he didn't want her to be cold. He even goes in her purse, takes out the keys, unlocks the door, and ushers her into the car, shuts the door, and then Cecil comes and talks to her, and comes to talk to Damon. And Damon was like, I ain't want all of that. And Cecil's like, I understand, but you kind of have to let the women figure that out. Like, they got history. Like, that's what they have history. And I was glad Cecil didn't like take sides. He really just was like, it's their friendship, so you have to let them figure it out. So I appreciated him for that. And then it kind of like, the scene ended there. But for me, I just didn't understand why Conetessa got so angry. Honestly, Conetessa is easily triggered. Like, with the whole thing, like earlier on in the season with her situation with Heavenly and the whole YouTube thing, I got where she was coming from. But I do think the way Conetessa has handled that situation, she go from 0 to 100 real quick, and it's like ease it on down a bit, bro. And then with this situation, Damon wasn't even coming at Conetessa. He was really just making a general statement, and then she took it there. So then he decided to take it there with her by saying, the two things y'all got going on, I think it's stupid. And then when I think what bothered her is when he said, if this is bullshit, she was like, it's not. And it's like, why do you always feel like you have to fight with people? Like, why do you, like, and she even said, I'd rather get physical with you instead of being vulnerable and allowing you to hit me in my vulnerability. Maybe you need to, like, she need to do some MMA fighting, maybe boxing, but she needs to see a legitimate, like, therapist on a consistent basis, because you can easily tell that there is something inside Conetessa that's like, it's like the door to anger is so easily open for her, where it's like, sometimes, girl, you don't need it. Don't get me wrong. I think anger is a powerful emotion. It is. When you get angry, you can do some mighty things to prove people wrong, or to prove the people that pissed you off wrong. But there should always be like a screen door in front of your anger door, to me. Like, you should have to unlock that screen door where it's like you a little angry, and then really have to get out a second key of a different key to unlock that anger door to like explode. And it seems like Contessa's door is just like all the way open with the door stopped, just to let him come in and flow out, because there was no need for her to get that mad or that triggered. And if she is easily triggered that way, then there needs to be more building to not being that way, because I guarantee you Conetessa probably argues with Scott like that in front of them children, and that's not fair to them, nor is it healthy, because y'all both said y'all come from toxic households. So get it together. Get it all the way together. So the last scene of this episode was the O-Shop party. Everybody got it done except Anila, because she brung her stick in the mud mother who don't understand boundaries. Like, Anila even got... This is why I got annoyed, is because she got her blood drawn. So you got your blood drawn because you were going to do it, but then when your mom basically was like, don't do it, you didn't bring, you don't want to do it because she's shaming you. Ma'am, you are almost 50 years old. Ain't nobody gonna shame me. Like, And then when Toya was like, oh, she's 45. She looked good for 45. But I'm like, at 45, Anila, if you wanted to get the O shot, you should have just got it. And then just had to listen to your mom like complain and like be annoyed in the car. Because at the end of the day, she wouldn't have a roof or any place to stay if y'all didn't allow her into your home. So I would have told her, well, do you want to live out on the streets? Because if you can't let me do what I do in my house with my life and with my money, then go on somewhere, ma'am. Because I was just like, you got your blood drawn, so you might as well get the O shot. But everybody got it done except Anila and Quad. But I got where Quad was coming from. She was like, I'm dating. I need to make sure they can do it to me before I give them extra help. We also met her friend. I don't think we ever gonna see that lady again. But Quad is so dramatic, and I'll keep saying that. When they brought up, like, so then Anila and Toya started talking about what happened between Heavenly and Conetessa at Simone's house. And then they tell Conetessa we're talking about her. So then they start talking about it. And then Quad comes in. She was like, her mother is dying. Okay? She might not be here by the end of the week. I said, okay, ma'am. I said, we're not performing to win an Oscar or an Emmy. This is not Broadway, Quad. Take it down a notch. But then they prayed for her, and that was it. I just feel like at this point, it is what it is when it comes to when it comes to Heavenly and Conetessa, because I just think that like their beef is different from everybody else's, because I feel like Conetessa is always gonna take it a notch further, whereas when Heavenly beefed with Simone and Toya, it was like I feel like everybody understood where to take it or how far they could take it. With Conetessa like might be liable to punch somebody in the face. I didn't see anybody else on this cast getting physical, but I can definitely see Conetessa like manhandling Heavenly or like pew pew, like hitting her in the face a couple of times just because she can't handle what Heavenly says, or she gets so pissed off with Heavenly because she's always like, the energy she gives is like she always ready to throw hands with somebody, and that to me is like not a healthy way to be. Like that's how people be having heart attacks and strokes, because your brain is always in a stage of fight or flight. I just think Conetessa needs to really find a way to channel her anger, and maybe divorcing Scott might help her. But I really feel like even if she divorced Scott, she still would be angry or still be very like quick to anger. But who knows? But yeah, y'all, that is it. That is all. Remember to be bravely authentic and drop down in the comments below. Deuces.